Right, welcome to the channel. Take all of this with a pinch of salt. Take this as rumour at this point in time. Why? Well, because it comes from a very illegitimate source, very unreputable. Sausage Roll! These are the same people who had the alleged exclusive for Captain Marvel 2, which everyone lost their minds about, and basically just ranted and raved about a no-name website basically doing nothing. So yeah, well done. You played yourselves like a bunch of morons and revealed yourselves to not be particularly great with respect to your journalistic integrity. So yeah, take this with a pinch of salt. Take it with a pinch of salt, but it does seem to be kind of corroborated by some other bits of pieces of information which we have learnt. So I think what Sausage Roll have done here is basically do a bit of we got this covered. Now if you don't know about what we got this covered is, we got this covered just makes up stories, literally non-stop. So Sausage Roll are doing that. But this is apparently all to do with The Last of Us 2, why it was leaked. Apparently they've got an interview with the individual that leaked it all. So, hey, look, again, take this with a pinch of salt, because it's a no-name website about a small bakery item. Plenty of spoilers. Oh, again, full spoilers. Again, we'll talk about full spoilers ahead for this. But this goes into... This video will be about why things were leaked, the Naughty Dog working environment, and then also the villains of Last of Us 2 are apparently homophobic Christians, which we knew anyway. That seemed to have been what the trailer indicated, some bits and pieces about that, and this kind of expands on it a little bit further as well. So yeah, let's take a look at this first. So why was it leaked, right? Why was it leaked? Now, like I say, take this with a pinch of salt, but this backs up some other things which happened, right? So earlier this year, Sony DMCA'd a post that was alleged to contain the game's entire plot. And this is the thing as well. I've had a copyright strike on my channel already because, again, I spoke about the leaks which came out recently. So you can pretty much all but believe the leaks. Again, you don't copyright strike people's channels and risk legal proceedings, right? Because I've filed counter notices. So if it goes further, it'll go to court. Which I'm more than happy to do, because they quite literally just broke fair use law. And even in the UK, we've got fair dealings. Yeah, you broke that as well. So you wouldn't do that unless you were trying to really hide something. Now, again, and that's the other thing as well, the legal proceedings for these types of videos take about a month for responding and things like that. So they bought themselves some time, okay, and this is what done at the end of April. We know that the game is, well, releasing soon as well. So they've kind of bought themselves some time to do that. Again, I think this is pretty legit. In terms of the leaks anyway, not this interview. Troy Baker, the voice actor for Joel in the Last of Us series, later confirmed that the game was super polarizing, yeah, and that it could not be thoroughly enjoyed with a closed mind. Yeah, pretty scathing, I would say, to have that mentioned from someone. I want people to go in open-minded to this story and allow Joel and Ellie to tell their story, not the story that people think they want to be told. If people go in open-minded to this thing, I think they'll have a completely different experience than if they go in closed-minded. Yeah, no shit. So anyway, an anonymous source linked to Naughty Dog Inc. reached out to Sausage Roll, and the following message regarding the Last of Us 2 gameplay footage leak. So talking about Naughty Dog, talking about the gameplay leak, I don't doubt, even for a moment, that this leak came from the studio. The Last of Us Part 2 is very divisive, and, as you can imagine, some of the team aren't really thrilled to be working on the game. Many people would agree with me that this has been one of the worst projects they've ever had to work on. And that's not just because some people disagree with the plot, even though some of the team members are Christians and don't necessarily agree with the game's message. Again, we'll get into that in a second. They are also professionals and can put their personal politics aside to get the job done. What really sucks about all of this is the working environment. And this all goes into money. Basically, it's all money, crunch. The source goes on to talk about how stale work environment has been at Naughty Dog, how many people have had to bite their tongues because cancel culture. Again, you believe it or not, it always amazes me why people white knight for big corporate studios. Naughty Dog's a corporate entity. Why are you white knighting for them? Fucking grow up. Childs. So anyway, it continues, right? The team is very much divided on the game, and even voicing your concerns on its story will upset certain individuals. Cuckman. It usually results in said person being called closed-minded or even phobic. And we know that this is actually the case, in some regards anyway, because we got an interview with Neil Druckmann, where he specifically said that he had to fire a sexist game player, tester, because they voiced some concerns about the overarching amount of women in games and stuff like that. So we know that people from the top, and it normally filters down, people from the top are very close-minded on accepting critique on anything, because apparently you just get called phobic or sexist, you're all the ists. Now, some people literally have to bite their tongues or fear losing their jobs, even careers, to an outraged mob, which we know this is nothing new, even if this is bogus. This kind of mentality and culture does occur in offices. Quite a lot, actually. We have it in the UK with respect to the Home Office, which is crazy, civil servants. What's really sad is that nobody is allowed to talk about any of this. Many employees have left Naughty Dog because of in-house politics, and they are under a strict NDA and absolutely cannot discuss the studio's productions, practices, secrets. Oops. Now that is true, yeah, they would be under NDA, and a lot of people would jump at that and go, wow, this is definitely fake then. People leak stuff all the time, calm down, grow up. Again, just grow up. But with respect to all of this and the kind of culture, people leave Naughty Dog all the time, actually, that's well documented. So again, before people jump to that, no, well documented. It's also well documented that they essentially mainly employ juniors, which is super lame, but alright. Mainly because they can't actually hire or keep any experienced developers. Now it continues, and it says that it was primarily the senior team that left Naughty Dog. Yep, we know that anyway. That's well documented. And to assume that it's because of long working hours is laughable. No, that's not. They weren't leaving because of that mainly. Again, well documented. Anybody that has ever worked in game development knows that this is a crock of shit. Since I can remember, development has always been like this. Get to work, chug coffee, and don't leave until you've completed the task that you've been assigned for the day. It's part of the fun. It's part of the lifestyle. I actually worked with I actually lived with a game developer whilst I lived in London. That was not their experience. They actually worked on Gears of War 5 or Gears of War 4, whichever one. I can't remember which one, but basically, he didn't say any of this was part of it. To be fair, he enjoyed what he did. So I don't think this is always the case. Maybe in the States, but not always the case. So let's get on to the message. The alleged message. Now, a person claiming to be an immediate relative of someone working at Naughty Dog Inc. Okay, posted what they alleged to be the plot to the highly anticipated The Last of Us sequel. The post was later deleted due to a DMCA takedown. So that does indicate that it's legitimate. It does. Okay, now, what it is apparently... oh dear. So it's all to do with LGBTQ, sort of pro that, I guess. Now, the plot was broken down step by step to reveal all the massive twists and even the final ending. However, the most controversial element of the plot is its seemingly anti-religious and pro-LGBTQ ideologies. So the two male protagonists have short roles in The Last of Us Part 2. This game is not for the patriarchy. It's supposedly women's time to shine. So we kill off Joel and Jesse in the early stages. We know that. That's confirmed now. And then the rest of it's all centered around basically persecution of LGBTQ people who are raided by religious cultists who believe that the cordyceps brain infection, much like Noah's flood, was God's way of purifying the land. The main story is focused and briefly, basically lesbian romance between Ellie and Dina. It leads into a love triangle of sorts between Dina's ex-boyfriend Jesse, Dina and Ellie, which we know because apparently Dina's pregnant with Jesse's baby. And then It isn't until Ellie and Dina share their first kiss, start falling in love, that a religious cult called the Seraphites ruin everything. So that's what it's all to do with, basically. It's all to do with that. But then all of the sort of strong, the strong male characters get killed. Again, it's very much down with them, down with the Patriot, all this kind of stuff, which is super. It's just super lame. You can raise minorities or characters and certain leanings up in life, whilst also not putting people down. Look, I know a lot of people will really hate the negative religious connotations about this, and they always jump at the element, because I did a video review of We Some of the Darkness, which had a kind of a slapstick satirical stab at Christianity, which is very, very funny. And a lot of people jumped into the comments and said, yeah, but they wouldn't do it about Islam. No, they probably wouldn't, and you are right. That is a double standard, but it by no means diminishes the comedic intent behind what was made in that film. Now, this particular here, I mean, if you're going to be overzealously pro LGBTQ, then you are putting Christianity as villains, basically, which is not particularly the best thing to do. It'd be different if it was satirical, I think. I don't know, it's a difficult thing. Like, I don't think any religion is particularly good at all, in fact. I don't think any fundamentalist Christian level is good in any way, shape or form. So I can see why this would be good, but I can also see why people would hate it. I'm kind of indifferent to it all. But yeah, there you go. So apparently it's all about the... I assume this is persecutions, not prosecutions, of LGBTQ people throughout history. So yeah, it'd be persecutions. And Naughty Dog Inc. thought it was relevant to bring these issues back to the forefront with the rise of white supremacy and transphobia in the modern world. I don't know what to think of it. I think it's all a bit silly, to be fair. But there you go. There's not too much else to go into here. There you go. That's apparently why it was all leaked. People are just disgruntled. People aren't happy with it all. And Neil Druckmann's kind of thoughts on all this stuff is well documented. So don't jump at it and say it's absolute BS. It is well documented. They've copyright struck a few channels now. So what has come out is definitely, well, it's legitimate anyway. But don't buy that Sausage Roll had an exclusive. I highly doubt that is the case. Anyway, whatever. There you go. Love to know your thoughts. Thank you. Take care.